And we've got breaking news this morning. It is an historic day for the entire world. The 20 remaining living hostages in the terrorist group Hamas's grasp now freed and reunited with their families in Israel after more than 2 years in captivity. Celebrations are breaking out in the newly named Freed Square in Tel Aviv. It was Hostage Square. Now it is being called Freed Square, as Israelis thank President Trump for his part in helping bring the hostages home. And Israel, for its part, releasing more than 1,900 Palestinian detained prisoners, including 250 who are currently serving life sentences. The president becoming the fourth American commander-in-chief to address Israel's governing body, the Knesset. He'll be speaking any moment, and we will take you back to Jerusalem, where President Trump is about to address the Israeli Knesset. President Trump will depart Israel for Egypt later this morning for a Middle East peace ceremony. I spoke with the Vice President, J.D. Vance, yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, and here's what he said about bringing all the hostages home, alive or deceased. Let me get your take on what Hamas reportedly told Israel and the mediators, that they can't locate the deceased bodies. They're not sure. How will we locate those who are deceased, that they can't find the bodies? What is the effort there?
Well, I think we'll locate most of them. And obviously, I think especially for religious Jews, it really matters that they have those bodies back to give them a proper religious burial. So that matters a lot, of course, to us, of course, to everybody who cares about these hostages. I think the reality is that some of the hostages we may never get back, but I do think that most of them, with some effort, we'll be able to give them to their families so they at least have some closure. But it's going to take some time. And Maria, here's a guess. I can't say this with certainty because nobody can predict the future. I think that we will eventually get most of the bodies, but we won't get all of them.
It is an incredibly historic day. We are going to be taking you back to Israel in just a moment. President Trump is live right now in Jerusalem. He is about to speak. When he does, we will take you there. Elizabeth, your reaction to this incredible moment in time unfolding?
It is certainly an incredible moment in time. I just want to make it very clear. What happened today is a miracle, truly a miracle made possible by the grace of God, of course, and also by the commitment to peace that I've never seen in my lifetime from a president like we have from President Trump. Considering what you just discussed with the vice president, think about who Donald Trump was able to make a deal with. Obviously our ally, but also Hamas, who is an enemy to anyone in the world who wants peace, who seeks goodness to come back, especially for a region as shaken as the Middle East has been over the last few years. President Trump was able to make a deal literally with the devil to bring home those that have been held for 2 years, obviously 2 years too long, in horrific conditions. Thank God they are back, and thank God President Trump is back in that Oval Office to make sure that peace once again returns, hopefully forever, to the Middle East.
That's right. That is exactly right. And right now, the president of Israel is shaking President Trump's hand there in Jerusalem. After Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, the president will travel then to Egypt, and he will be joined by the leaders of the Middle East. We're talking, and the world, by the way, the King of Jordan, His Highness of Kuwait, Netherlands, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Paraguay, Qatar, Saudi, Spain, UAE, UK, UN, Italy, Bahrain, Canada. The list is long, Mitch, but all of these leaders understand that this could not have happened without the commander-in-chief of the United States.
Yeah, Maria, when I think about the miracles, use Elizabeth's term, it's almost a biblical story if you think about it. You know, being Jewish, when you think about the history of the Jewish people and the adversity that the Jews have overcome throughout history for thousands and thousands of years, this is one of those stories that my kids and one day, God willing, my grandchildren will reflect upon as being something that is totally significant. I remember the war in 1967 being, a kid, and how important that was for the Jewish people. This is one of those similar stories that will reflect upon, and I only hope that President Trump will be remembered for his miraculous role in all of this.
That's absolutely right. And right now we are looking at pictures of the Knesset in Jerusalem, where the president is about to take the podium and address the governing parliament of Israel. Meanwhile, in what is now being called Freed Square in Tel Aviv, there are celebrations wildly with flags of Israel as well as the United States. cherishing President Trump's role here. Vice President J.D. Vance also told me what role the U.S. will play in a post-war Gaza. Watch this.
The only major commitment that we've made is that we're going to monitor this peace. And so the Gulf Arab states and the Israelis, they need a sort of, an independent mediator to say whether the terms of the ceasefire are holding, to ensure that both the people in Gaza, but also the Israelis are actually living up to the terms of the deal. We're confident that's going to happen, but it's going to require some monitoring. I've seen some reporting, Maria, that suggests that you're going to have American boots on the ground in Gaza. That is not true. What we are is going to use the troops that we already have at Central Command, and we've had these troops for many, many years.
I also asked the vice president for clarification over an announcement by the Department of War that the Pentagon has agreed to host the Qatari F-15 fighter jets at an Air Force facility in Idaho in America as part of securing the Gaza peace deal. Watch this. What is Qatar going to be developing in Idaho?
This is largely a fake story. We continue to have with countries that we work with. We have relationships where sometimes their pilots work on our bases, sometimes that we train together, sometimes we work together in other ways. The reporting that somehow there is going to be a Qatari base on United States soil, that's just not true. We are continuing to work with a number of our Arab friends to ensure that we are able to enforce this peace, but we're not going to let a foreign country have an actual base on American soil.
Yeah, there were questions about the Qatari relationship and the Qatari plans there, Elizabeth. But you just heard the vice president there. President Trump is talking about peace through strength.
He is, and he has been, right, since day one when he first announced his presidency in 2015. I'm actually finding it hard to find any sympathy right now for those that actually believe that there's any risk here. I trust President Trump more than any president, like I said, in my lifetime, to understand both what it takes to develop a relationship with countries that we need to have peace in the world, and also I trust him more than anyone else when it comes to standing up against any threat against the United States of America. So shame on those that were lying about this. It is not a base of a foreign entity on our nation's land. And thank God, again, for President Trump's peacemaking, deal-making skills, because right now we have, like we said, a miracle happening in front of our very eyes, and that's what we should be grateful for and talking about.
That's right. We are also going to be talking about the relationship with China, because there are hostilities that are bubbling up there. We'll slip in a short break, and then we will take you right back to Jerusalem, where the president is about to deliver remarks to the Israeli legislature. We're following this historic breaking news all morning long. Stay with us. We'll be right back.